Okay, so I'm continuing this video that I got cut off. I had a phone call. I might have another phone call down the pike, so I might have to interrupt the video again. So it was in reference to a video that was in reference to a video. It was, so we're already like a cliche. So a video that Harav Gaon Rabbi Yaakov Shapiro Shlita made about Jerusalem and about Lashon HaKodesh. It was actually two different videos, and then some Zionist group made a video like against it, and I'm kind of refuting their refutations, for lack of a better term. So the first issue we said was, like we said about Jerusalem, which we made the video already. You can watch the video I made, where I discussed about how, Rabbi Shapiro said that Jerusalem is not the capital of the Jewish people, because the Jewish people are a religious community and not a country or a nation, and so they're not a political group, and so therefore to call Jerusalem the capital of the Jewish people is an insult to the Jewish people. I mean, and he told a story once that someone asked him at a protest, what are you protesting? And he said, well, let me ask you something. What religion are you? And the lady says she's Catholic. And he said, and what nationality are you? She said, she's from Venezuela. And he said, let me ask you something. If someone would tell you that because you're Catholic, that the Vatican is the capital of Venezuela, how would you feel? What do you? That's ridiculous, And she would actually be quite angry about it. And so that's so I want to say there's really two different worldviews about Judaism. The ultra-Orthodox worldview is that the Jewish people are a religious community, and the Zionist worldview is that we're essentially a nation whether or not we're religious. And that's basically the major difference, I would say, between the ultra-Orthodox and the Zionists, whether religious or secular, is that question of, and so what does it mean when the Bible continuously calls us a nation? Well, again, we can turn back to this video that this fellow made where he said that Jerusalem, the Jews would make a pilgrimage 3 times a year from all over the world, just like the Muslims make a pilgrimage to Mecca. Muslims have a term Ummah to refer to the religious community of Muslims as a religious community. It's similar to how Christians sometimes refer to their community as the body of Christ, that they consider them all together to be one body of Christ in Christianity. The Muslims have a term Ummah, which is a direct cognate, it's really the exact same word as the Hebrew word Ummah or Am, which means a people or a nation. It doesn't mean that you have to be a particular race to be part of the Ummah. Today was the anniversary of Malcolm X's assassination or murder. And, Malcolm X was originally part of a group called Nation of Islam, which really has very little to do with traditional Sunni or Shiite Islam. And then he converted to, I believe, Sunni Islam, and he recognized that the racist ideology of Nation of Islam was not in step with the actual ideals of Islam as a religion. And in a way, the Zionists are like the Nation of Islam, that they took away the religious context and replaced it with a racial or a nationalist context of what it means to be part of the Jewish people and Jewish peoplehood. Whereas Islam, they use the same term, ummah, but it refers to a community of believers, no matter what their race is. It could be Arab, white, black, although most Muslim communities do have a certain preference for Arabs. There is a certain Arabic ethnocentricity in many Muslim communities, even some to their chagrin. I remember speaking to someone at the WIC office, and she's Muslim from like Bosnia or whatever. Yugoslavia used to be, one of those, Croatia, I don't know, one of those countries, Albania maybe. And she said, her mosque, I think it's Albanian, it's an Albanian mosque, but they couldn't find an Albanian imam, so they hired an Arab imam, and she said the people feel that like he's kind of arrogant toward them because they're not Arab, things like that. And so I guess the problem exists there as well, and the problem exists among us as well. We don't treat converts the way we should. But at the very least, the religious Zionists most religious Zionists recognize that there is such a thing that you can convert to Islam. I mean, I'm saying most religious Zionists recognize you can convert to Judaism and recognize a convert, particularly if they're a Talmud Chacham, if they're a Torah scholar, like someone like Meir Kahane, Zichron Livracha. He always said that if Arafat would convert tomorrow, he would be just as Jewish as Kahane. There's nothing racist about Judaism, and he's right. He couldn't be a Kohen, but he could, just on the side, I've been reading the autobiography of Bishop Fulton Sheen. I know I've been talking a lot about Fulton Sheen just because I've been reading his autobiography. So he said he was once on a train, and he met an Anglican priest or an Episcopal priest, and the priest, the Episcopal priest, said, I'm a priest just like you. I can forgive sin just like you. There's no difference between an Episcopal priest and a Catholic priest. And so then as he was leaving, he said, remember, Sheen, I can do anything you can do. So then Fulton Sheen said, no, I could kiss your wife, but you can't kiss mine. All right, another phone call. All right, let me see who this is. All right.